Uranium stocks are up as I thought they would be, and we're going to talk about some of the biggest news that I've covered on this channel. A lot of alarming data, a lot of updates on things I've been talking about for years. U.S. utilities long-term contracting is coming. The demand is massive and their supply is running lower. So you're going to want to watch this whole video. UEC is now more than likely going to close on the UEX merger tomorrow. Denison has dropped out. They did not up their bid. So UEC is going to have 307 million pounds of high-grade uranium. That's a lot of it. This is permitted joint ventures, and it's going to be very big for that company, both mergers. So go ahead and just hit the like and subscribe button below. We're going to jump right into this. And if you guys get this video to 1,000 likes, which is super easy for you guys, I might just do another uranium documentary video. There's so much to cover. The U.S. inflation bill, this is huge for utilities. Utilities have been waiting in the U.S. Duke Energy, which is a utility, they have 6 nuclear reactors, is in their latest earnings report, is looking to spend $2.2 billion on nuclear fuel. And this is up into 2026. And you can see it's a lot of money spending on energy. Now, 49% of that is uranium costs, okay? This is 6 nuclear power plants from Duke Energy, but there's 93 in the US. Now, the US utilities coverage rate will be down at 36% by the end of this year. And it just drops off a cliff right after that in the next couple of years. And then you can see in Europe, we're starting to dwindle down as well, coverage rates for these utility companies. Now, one thing that I was saying about this, why utilities are coming back into contracting, and we're already seeing this with Energy Fuels starting contracting. We're seeing the volume in UF6 and SWU go up, but it's because these utilities have been waiting. And I'm not the only one that's saying this. There are fuel buyers, and I'll show you in a minute, fuel buyers saying the exact same thing, okay? Potential for significant customer benefits from nuclear and renewable PTCs. So these tax credits from the government, right? They're going to be huge. Deploys critical infrastructure investment by more efficient monetizing tax credits, improving cash flow and financing flexibility, provides significant benefits to the commercial renewable business and their customers as we pursue strategic review. So, not only are they going to get extensions, that's tax credits, and a lot of this money, this billions, 2.2 billion. This was upped, by the way. The year before when I covered it, it was around 2.1 billion. So they are upping it, and it's probably going to be, they're probably going to front load a lot of these because of the risk in Russia. So this is very, very big. Now, we'll touch on actually not just what I'm saying, but we're going to look, this is a fuel buyer. It's my buddy Jeff. So Jeff wrote a nice thread on this, and he said, so how does the nuclear production tax credit, the PTCs, increase uranium requirements? Well, 5 areas. Existing reactors stay on, reactor life extensions, reactor cycle length extensions, reactor power uprates, and reduce need for flexible operations. Now, Jeff went on to say, many U.S. nuclear reactors face periods of negative power prices, which are in part driven by existing production tax credits for wind and solar, okay? So they were getting all the breadcrumbs from the government, right? With the certainty of all nuclear generation being worth at least $15 a megawatt, operators can more easily justify capital expenditures to keep existing plants running. Okay, so this fuel, that 30% coverage rate, those reactors might have went offline. They might have not needed them as much, right? So they were running low on fuel. Now they're going to need this fuel, right? Especially as many reactors consider lifetime extensions to 80 years, a process which will require significant preparation, upkeep, and maintenance to achieve the production tax credits, provides more certainty for operators in these investment decisions, right? Many U.S. reactors operate on an 18-month cycle, right? And we're seeing this refueling cycle going to start back up in fall, like it always does, fall and spring. And what does uranium prices do? They hit new highs. They've hit new highs every single time. Uranium stocks rocket. And we're probably going to see this even higher, the biggest, probably triple-digit uranium if this happens. So these 18-month cycles, by using enrichment above 5%, U235, more reactors can extend their cycle to 2 years and generate more power per year using more uranium. A production tax credit provides the visibility to invest in the updates required to make longer cycles happen. We could be getting more power from many reactors in the United States. The process of licensing and implementing these power uprates isn't free, but a production tax credit could provide the certainty of capital returns for operators to make these critical investments. More power equals more uranium. And what I said, 2.2 billion just from Duke, right? And finally, the nuclear reactors price protected down to 15 megawatt an hour. There should be a nationwide reduction in lost nuclear power generation due to flexible operations, temporary load reductions. This will also marginally increase uranium demand, okay? To quote a more eloquent colleague of mine in the US industry, this is a big freaking deal. Okay, so this is, and I've been saying this for a while, that we're gonna see these long-term prices in uranium have started to go up. We're gonna see these long-term contracting, the spot market, this overfeeding is going to start to happen, and it's getting crazy. So that $2.2 billion, that's just a very small fraction. Now, the real demand's coming from the East. We're not even talking about the 150 reactors from the East. We're not even talking about the supply disruptions. We're already in a deficit, and there's already going to be record supply, okay? This overfeeding is going to start happening. And this reduction that's going down in these contracts that need replaced, just in the United States, it's going to cause major demand, okay? Something else to note, this is actually a letter to Congress. We're likely to see uranium be added to the critical minerals list. We could see the Russian uranium ban get released pretty soon. There are a lot of people that are going to be reading this letter. Now, this letter has the top people in the industry. We're talking about UEC, we're talking about Cameco, Centrus Energy, Converton, Duke Energy, what I just talked about, Constellation Energy, the largest, utility in the entire United States. And, it's like 13% of the reactors that they have. Orano, pretty much everyone, majority of the uranium companies, Encore Energy, all the US uranium companies for sure, X Energy, Westinghouse, everyone supports this. Now, what they're saying is, dear Leader Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, and leaders McConnell and McCarthy, we, the undersigned organizations, implore Congress to take action to strengthen U.S. national economic and energy security by passing legislation to assist in establishing a secure nuclear fuel supply. A prescription like the contained in the bipartisan International Nuclear Energy Act of 2022, the S. Senators 4064, would be an important first step. This bipartisan bill would in part establish a nuclear fuel security program to enhance domestic production of LEU for existing reactors and HALEU for the use in advanced reactors. We also support the Fueling Our Nation's Security Act 2022, Future Act S. 4066, which would accelerate the availability of high assay low enriched uranium for next generation nuclear fuel and would spur the establishment of the uranium enrichment and conversion capabilities in the United States. Our organizations are committed to working with the U.S. government to strengthen all the stages of our nuclear fuel supply chain to establish a secure supply of uranium, uranium conversion, uranium enrichment capabilities to meet the needs of both today's reactors and the next generation facilities. The establishment of a secure fuel supply, which will enable the U.S. to eliminate the import of uranium and related conversion enrichment services from the Russian Federation. There is pressing need for public-private partnerships to diversify the supply chain and alleviate the national security issues associated with the dependence of Russian nuclear fuel imports. The goal to eliminate the imports of Russian fuel as soon as possible requires government and industry to work together to maintain nuclear generation as the backbone of the grid and to protect U.S. security interests. We urge you to act quickly to enhance domestic nuclear fuel production and in doing so, reduce our dependence on non-allied foreign sources, strengthen our energy position internationally, and preserve thousands of high-quality prevailing wage jobs. Thank you for your consideration. Very sincerely, these few things are going to change. This is the real backbone of the U.S. nuclear energy renaissance. And as Jeff said, a fuel buyer, someone who is very, in a sense, conservative about this, when they're starting to, say things like this about, this being a big freaking deal, as his colleague would say, this is very, very bullish. You don't really see that coming from, the fuel buyers, right? Some other positive news to touch on. There obviously was issues with the Ukrainian Z plant there, but they are calling on the IAEA to visit the nuclear power plant by the end of the month. The representative of Ukraine, they're asking them to come there because they want to use all possible diplomatic channels to bring them in and the United Nations closer to carrying out this mission. Obviously, because what's going on with the war, they don't want another Chernobyl. Okay, they're smart enough. We're way smarter than this. This is not, we don't need another issue like that. So I have a feeling this could help. Now, one thing positive today, we'll look at uranium stocks in one sec, but you can see crude oil is up. We're starting to see some other commodities start to go up again. Major uranium stocks, all the big ones were up today, but UEC and UEX are obviously they're in a flag pattern, starting to flag up right here. This indecisiveness, they're just going to bounce around here. Their vote goes tomorrow. I talked to Lewis, 2% of the company, UEX. He's super excited. He said he's going to pretty much be holding on to that position, UEC, for a long time. It's going to be a really big position, obviously. You're seeing uranium stocks, majority of them up 5 to even 10% in the initial starts today, with the Nasdaq down. Now, the Nasdaq, if we look at all the uranium stocks compared to the Nasdaq here, you can see that tech was one of the main reasons a lot of the market dropped down today. NVIDIA had earnings and they're saying that they're seeing their sales slow. You know, we have chip issues. So a lot of that tech pulled down a lot of the market. Now, it is nice to see uranium stocks start to break away. You start to see some of these US producer stocks, very small ones, you know, Peninsula 7%, seeing, you know, anything over, say, 8%. Now, it might be low volume, you know, 5 to 8%. A lot of these uranium stocks still lower volume. We didn't see breakout volume yet. So I don't even think the market really understands how big this is. And with uranium stocks like UEC, I think they're just going to bounce around here. It loves that 420 mark. It's nice to see 424 and basically break even for the day, because when that passes, you know, 307 million pounds of high grade uranium in joint ventures with Cameco and Orano, this is huge. And if you guys like these videos, please get this video to 1,000 likes. That's super easy for you. I'll probably do that uranium documentary really soon if you guys do that. You know, I called in the last video, I said the uranium stocks are likely to go up, and they are, okay? We're probably going to see a massive run very soon. And when the overall uranium market gets this volume, it's going to get crazy. I'm going to be day and swing trading like crazy, probably going to go 100% in swing and day trades. So if you want access to all this stuff first, all the info, link in the description below to my Discord. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. It's finally nice to see real change happen. And until next time.